History is written by the victors, filled with tales of brilliant tactics and heroic sacrifice. But sometimes, history is also written by the profoundly unlucky, the incredibly foolish, and the hopelessly drunk. This is one of those stories. It's the legend of the Battle of Karansebes, a military engagement where the only shots fired in anger were at comrades, and an entire army managed to defeat itself before the enemy even showed up. In the autumn of 1788, the vast Austrian army, a force of some 100,000 men, marched to confront the Ottoman Empire near the town of Karansebes, in what is now modern-day Romania. This was a formidable military machine, but it had a critical flaw. It was a multinational melting pot, a Tower of Babel on the march. Austrians, Serbs, Croats, Lombards, Poles, and Hungarians all served under the same Habsburg flag, but they often couldn't understand a word their fellow soldiers were saying. This communication gap would soon prove to be more devastating than any enemy cannon. On the night of September 21st, a scouting party of Hussars, the army's elite light cavalry, crossed the Timis River to look for the Ottoman vanguard. They found no sign of the Turks. What they did find was a group of local Romani traders with a wagon full of schnapps. The Hussars promptly bought the barrels and began to drink, their mission all but forgotten. A short while later, a second Austrian unit, this time a detachment of infantry, crossed the river and stumbled upon the drunken cavalrymen. Naturally, they demanded a share of the alcohol. The Hussars, protective of their prize, refused. An argument erupted, which quickly escalated into a drunken, chaotic brawl. Amid the shouting and shoving, a single shot was fired into the night air. In the darkness and confusion, that single gunshot was all it took to ignite a firestorm of panic. Some soldiers, startled by the noise, began shouting, "Turci, Turci," the Serbian word for Turks. The Hussars, thinking they were being attacked, scrambled onto their horses and galloped back towards the main Austrian camp. The infantry, seeing the Hussars fleeing, also panicked and ran, firing wildly behind them at shadows they believed to be the enemy. Back at the main camp, an Austrian officer saw the wave of Hussars charging out of the darkness. Mistaking them for an Ottoman cavalry assault, he gave the order for the artillery to open fire. Cannons roared, blasting into their own ranks. The entire camp descended into pandemonium. In the pitch-black night, different units, speaking different languages, were convinced they were under a full-scale Turkish attack. Serb soldiers fired on Poles, Croats fired on Italians, and Austrians fired on everyone. Commands to halt in German were lost on soldiers who only understood Hungarian or Serbian, becoming just more noise in the terrifying chaos. For hours, the mighty Austrian army waged a ferocious, phantom battle against itself. When the sun rose the next morning, the horrific reality became clear. The field was a scene of carnage. While historical accounts vary wildly on the numbers, some early reports claimed as many as 10,000 casualties. Modern historians believe the figure was likely lower, but still significant, perhaps over 1,000 dead and wounded from friendly fire. The army was shattered, demoralized, and utterly disorganized. The final, humiliating irony came 2 days later. The actual Ottoman army, led by the Grand Vizier Koka Yusuf Pasha, arrived at Karansebes. They expected to find prepared and formidable Austrian force ready for battle. Instead, they found a field littered with Austrian dead and an army in disarray. They took the town with ease. The Battle of Karansebes, whether entirely factual or embellished over time, has gone down in history as a cautionary tale. It stands as a testament to the chaos of war, a grimly absurd lesson on the dangers of poor communication, and perhaps the most powerful argument ever made against drinking on the job.